Hello and welcome to this wrap-up video for week 8 and week 9 of Process Systems Analysis. In terms of the content in the unit, we've actually finished all of the formal unit lectures. The last section that we covered was heat transfer, and we looked in particular at heat exchangers. With heat exchangers, the energy balance is usually straightforward, but the heat transfer calculation requires the specification of an appropriate temperature driving force. We showed that the correct driving force is actually the log mean of the terminal temperature differences. And we showed that this varies depending on whether you have co-current flow or counter-current flow in the heat exchanger. We solved a particular heat exchanger worked example looking at the heat transfer area that was required, whether for co-current or for counter-current flow. And we showed that to achieve the same amount of heat transfer, you will always need less area for counter-current. And in fact, counter-current is preferred in practice. In terms of assessment in ENG1010, you all completed the HYSYS test last week. They've been marked and the grades have been uploaded in Moodle. If you're curious as to what the correct answers were for the test that you did, have a look at them. All of the 5 different tests are posted up in Moodle and the correct answers are in a legend at the bottom of the page. Case study 1 is actually due in this afternoon, Wednesday the 8th of May, and deals with the oil and gas industry. So there was a really great little documentary that was posted in Moodle that you viewed to introduce you to the topic. And then you had 2 questions to answer. One was a hand calculation question looking at a broken pipeline underwater and oil leaking out of that pipeline. The other one was a question related to the use of HYSYS and the combustion process. So hopefully you all get those case studies submitted on time this afternoon, and we're aiming to have all of those marked and returned to you within 48 hours. As I mentioned in class, we use a tool called peer assessment in this unit. And what that does is allows you to evaluate the contribution of yourself and all of your team members towards the group effort. And we take all of those ratings and we develop a peer assessment factor, and the group mark is multiplied by your individual peer assessment factor to get your individual grade. I've emailed everyone to let you know about that, and all of the instructions on how to use that tool, which is called WebPA, are in Moodle. So once you've submitted case study 1, please log into Moodle, read the instructions on how to use WebPA, how it's set up, how it works, and then log in and complete the peer assessment for your team. It's really important to remember that everyone has to do the peer assessment. If you don't complete it, and we give you a week to do it after the case study's been submitted, if you don't do it in that 1 week period, you'll be automatically given a peer assessment factor of 0.75. So I strongly encourage you to do the peer assessment. Case study 2 has already been released in Moodle, and that's looking at recycling, and is recycling a sustainable option for us. That one's due in on the 22nd of May. Next week in Process Systems Analysis, we'll be doing the practical project for this unit. So you'll have an opportunity to go to the lab and use some of the knowledge that you've learned so far to solve a practical problem. I'll be releasing all the details of the practical problem on Moodle this afternoon. You complete that project and you do the write-up for it in the same groups that you've been working in for your case studies. In summary, there's quite a lot going on in Process Systems Analysis at the moment with the case studies, the practical project, and probably in the other units that you're studying at the moment, assessment and due dates there and so on. So I'd really urge you to please try and keep on top of everything. Make sure you're aware of all the deadlines that are coming up for you so that you don't leave things to the last moment. Finally, if you haven't done it already, please take a moment to complete the survey for this unit called the C2 survey. You can do that by logging into my.monash, because the feedback that you give us on this unit and on my teaching is very valuable and we appreciate it. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.